Good evening, everybody. It is now April 4th. It is 11 o'clock at night. I just recently got off of work, and I want to make a quick video discussing about the main theme behind these videos and what they illustrate as far as who I am with my life. But first of all, I got myself a little bit of cigar. I recently got the Zippo right here. Has dice on it because one of my favorite rappers, Scarface, said in the song by the Ghetto Boys, Time Taker, life is like a game of dice. You roll them right the first time, but you seldom get to roll them twice. Anyways, so what I come to realize about myself, as seen in his videos, is that it shows different sides of me. Some sides are good and some sides are bad. But I'll describe myself like this, is that I am not necessarily all good and I'm not necessarily all bad. I'm a complicated man and I'm a complicated individual. But what does it mean to be complicated? Let me just go ahead and take care of this real quick. Sorry about that. I celebrate when I smoke. But being complicated means that you have multiple sides to yourself. You're not just one singular personality. You have multiple personalities and sides to yourself, in which come out in different scenarios and when you face certain things in your life. I can be very cool and calm and relaxed when everything is fine, everything's all good with my life. But when I get stressed and I feel threatened and I feel like I'm being betrayed and lied to and stabbed to the back, that's when I turn into a beast that makes me unrecognizable. It's as though it's kind of like the story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. See, the story goes is that Dr. Jekyll was a scientist that created a serum which turned him into a murderous psychotic maniac. And I wouldn't say that I'm like that, but I can understand the story. And I've known people in the past who are like that. Even some of the rappers I listened to from back in the days. One great example was one of my main favorite rappers from back in the days was a rapper named DMX, Earl Simmons. Now DMX was in the late 90s and early 2000s one of the biggest rappers in the world. And he had his first 5 albums go number 1 on the Billboard. And they were some of the hardest and most aggressive and bloodthirsty hip-hop albums that have ever become very popular. I've heard harder stuff, like a rapper named Brother Lynchung, but DMX was, at the time, an example of how hardcore and aggressive hip-hop was. He rapped about robbing, stealing, killing, and being a devil out in the streets, doing what he could in order to make him survive. But he also had a good side to him. He talked a lot about God and his relationship with him, and he always had a prayer on his album, and he would do prayers in the shows. And I think the reason why was because DMX was a man who was fighting a lot of demons on the inside. And those demons were planted within him based on having a rough childhood, not having his father around, his mother was very abusive, and he would be out on the streets doing what he can in order to make it. And he had a relationship with his grandma who made him turn to God in order to go ahead and turn his life around. And I can remember years ago when I was going through a lowest point in my life on how when I was at my lowest point and I felt like giving up, I thought about a song called The Convo, which is from his first album, one of my personal favorites in hip hop, called It's Dark and Hell is Hot. If you're a fan of old school hip hop or claim to be and you don't know that album, you're not a real fan of 90s hip hop and old school hip hop. I'll say that. Well, unfortunately, I still remember the day it happened. He died in April 2021 of a drug-induced heart attack. And he was only, I think, 51 years old. His demons eventually got to him. And it destroyed him. And I've had people in my family whose demons got to them and they're dead and gone. I've known people in the past whose demons have got to them and they died of a drug overdose, suicide, and such. And another rapper, among my personal favorites, not only in hip-hop, but artist of all time, was Tupac Shakur. Tupac was an artist that had a lot of sides to him. Political, socially aware, a player towards women. He was also rapping about his complicated relationship with God. And he rapped about being a hardcore street killer and a hustler. Because he represented all of that. He was associated with guys who were in the streets because they were the only people that he could turn to in a crucial time in his life for help and guidance. And I was in a similar situation 5 years ago when I was at a homeless shelter for 8 months. After I left the hospital 5 years ago, after I had a very severe mental breakdown, I was suicidal. I got into a fight with my dad because we were two strong-handed individuals that went at it with each other at work, and I was left on my own. And I had a mental breakdown because I felt as though I couldn't go any further and I needed help. I was back with my dad for a little bit, but then life was really at its low point. And my inner demons almost got to me, to the point in which I felt like just taking my own life. And I went to the hospital. But after I got out, I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't go to my family. I couldn't go to my friends. I couldn't go to anybody. And I had to go to this homeless shelter and go into a program called New Life, which was a Christian-based program focusing on you dedicating yourself to the Lord and the Bible. And I wasn't taking things seriously at the time, but I'll get into more of that later. And I remember being surrounded by some of the meanest, scariest guys I've ever seen. Guys who are real-life predators, real-life gangsters, drug dealers, drug addicts, alcoholics, even guys who are really crazy and psycho. It was not easy, and I had to go ahead and grow a backbone and stand my ground with them at times. But they respected me. I would play basketball with them. I would go ahead and play cards with them. I even learned a recipe on how to go ahead and make a spread, which is prison food, in which you go ahead and you cook ramen noodles. You mix it up with cheese sauce, Frito-Lay chips, and hot Cheetos. You put in a trash bag, let it sit for a few minutes, and then you open up and you dip it with chips. It was actually not bad. Those were the type of individuals that I hung around with, and I picked a lot of this Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde syndrome from my own father. My father, he was a complicated man. And artists I listened to were complicated men. Tupac was a complicated man. And unfortunately for Tupac, he had a strong angel within him, but a strong devil, as shown in his music. And I would say that honestly, the reason why he's not here anymore is because he let his inner demon get to him when he decided to stomp out that gangster named Orlando Anderson at the MGM Grand Hotel, who was a real predator and devil. And when you mess with guys who are gangsters and real hardcore gangsters, they don't care who you are or where you come from. You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. And we will come at you like this animal, a wolf, like a pack of wolves. And they tracked him down the strip in Las Vegas and they killed him. And my father, unfortunately, years ago, he let his inner demons get to him of guilt, shame, misery, mental illness too. And it took him down. And I realized that's part of what I am. A huge part of what I am. It's not easy. It's not easy being a complicated man, but I now realize at this point that I cannot let this inner devil, this inner monster, take hold of me. If anything, I either have to remove it completely or train and work with it. Say at work today, I remember when things got very intense and scary with work, when serving around 400 people, 400 covers for a table, I looked at myself in the mirror and I said to that inner devil, look, I'm not going to let you go ahead and let me go out of control and want me to go ahead and hurt others. You're going to work together with me, okay? You're going to help to give me that boost, that strength, and that ferocity in the appropriate places so we can get through this. Otherwise, if we don't, it'll be the end of the both of us. Because I had issues at work with laying out that inner demon, and people were scared of me, looking at me like, I make people feel uncomfortable because of my intense personality. And I had to go ahead and look at the man in the mirror and say, look, I know you're there. I know what you're all about. But I'm not going to allow you to go ahead and cause me to hurt myself or hurt others anymore. You're going to work with me. Because if we do that, we'll be able to prosper and be able to go ahead and move forward in life. And then that other side to me looked at me and said, it's a deal. Let's do this. And I went through tonight at work and I did an amazing job. So what it is that I come to realize that it's important that you master your dark side. As I brought up, my good side is like the African lion. African lions. They're predators, but they take after and look after their pack and their pride, and they maintain dominance over their territory, and are the king of their domain. Well, my bad side is more so like this. The Bengal tiger. Bengal tigers are the most ruthless, savage, and dangerous predators in all the animal kingdom. I found out that they have been responsible between the years 1800 to 2009, the deaths of 373,000 people. I even remember this one story of this one female tigress named the Chopwa tiger that in the late 1800s and early 1900s was responsible for killing 436 people, mainly women and children, because she had an injury in her teeth and when she couldn't hunt for her regular prey. So she hunted after women and children because they were easy prey. One second. So, but unfortunately for that tiger, well, fortunately for human beings anyways that lived in northern India, She was hunted down and tracked and killed by a poacher. And I can realize this is that if I let out the inner tiger to do what tigers do, I hurt other people and I'm hurting myself. And I cannot allow that to happen anymore. See, I realize this. In order for me to progress in life, is that I have to train that darker side to work for me than to work against me. Because there is evil in this world. How do you fight off evil? By understanding, have the mentality of what evil does, but you use that sort of energy against them in order to defend yourself. There are times when it's appropriate to go ahead and stand up for yourself and show that you're not to be messed with. But it's not necessary all the time. Especially when it comes to other people who are innocent and who don't deserve to be threatened or shown that you're not messed with. When I was at the shelter with guys who are real scary predators, there were times in which I had to stand my ground. I didn't fight, but I had to stand up on my own 2 feet and show it back on and say, I'm not going to let you beat me down, okay? But in general, that is not how it works in society. Because having that tiger mentality, it works against you. You have a mentality of you're just by yourself out in the jungle, it's you against the world, and nobody matters. But people do matter, but only if they're the right kind of people that complement your life. So, the illustration that I'm showing in my videos is that I have a good side and a bad side. And I've let that out in both of them by being brutally honest about it. This cigar is almost done. Sit right here. So, so I decided this. In order for me to go through life, is that I have to acknowledge that I have an animal inside of me. But I built my foundation on truth and excellence and love. And making the world a better place, which is getting closer to God. Whereas the devil is a force of lies, mediocrity, and evil and destruction. I almost destroyed myself with drugs and alcohol. I almost destroyed myself with thinking about taking my own life. But I cannot let that happen anymore. Because I realize that I know that I have great things ahead of me, but I will not be able to enjoy that and inspire others if I give into that dark side. If anything, I would say, look, I know you're there, I know you're inside of me, but I cannot have you work against me anymore. You have to work with me. Okay? Because if you don't work with me and we just end up going out with each other, it's going to be the death of the both of us. So for all those who I've offended, for all those I've hurt, I apologize. I'm a complicated man. I have some battles. I have a strong battle within. But it's a battle that I've chosen to take on with the help of those who have gone through that. It is a difficult journey. That's why I describe my channel and my IG page, Dre's Journey. Because throughout the life of a man, you will come through challenges and obstacles. But the greatest obstacle and challenge is for you to overcome yourself. I don't know who said this, but I remember reading this one quote that a man can conquer 1,000 armies, but until he learns to conquer himself, he will not be a real man. So, from now, I will dedicate myself to conquering this inner demon and have it work with me rather than work against me. And it did very well with me at work today. But I know I still have work to do. And I will live my life an example of how it is in order for you to go ahead and to not only be successful, but to conquer that inner demon, that inner devil. And just say, from the perspective of your good side, look, I am stronger and more powerful than you are. Because I work to make this world a better place. Whereas you are causing nothing but destruction. But you'll be able to reap the rewards and benefits of living living a prosperous and happy and healthy life if you work with me. And we went like this. Let's do it. So, being a complicated man is nothing to be ashamed of. You just got to know how to go ahead and have a relationship like this between the good and the bad. So, for all you complicated men, understand that there is an out. But you can't do it on your own. Get the help you need. Go to therapy. Go see a psychiatrist. Go to a group of people who are struggling with the same things as you are. And learn from them and how you can go and improve yourself and live a happy life. And that's what I'm going to choose to do. Not just because I want to do it, but because I have to. Because if I don't, I will end up destroying myself and possibly hurting other people. And I cannot allow myself to live a life of regret, knowing that I've hurt others. I want to help. You take life as an opportunity to make the best of yourself and to help make this world a better place. And that's how you win. Enough said, though. I will see you next time. I want to maintain a calm, cool demeanor. And just understand that I'm no longer going to choose to give in more so being a gangster and a savage. But instead of being a soldier and a gentleman. Being a soldier of the truth, excellence, and love. And making this world a better place. Rather than being a gangster, which is lies, mediocrity, evil, and destruction. Anyways, I'm tired. It's time for me to go to bed real soon. So I'm going to make a quick video. You have to for all you complicated men out there, learn to develop a relationship with your dark side, but have it work with you rather than work against you. You guys have a good night, and I'll see y'all next time. This is Dre's Journey, signing off. Peace.